Hello YouTube, Gold here again, and I'm bringing you a Gold special. I participated in a mono-type tourney a couple weeks ago, and it's just a tourney where you basically just pick one type, and your whole team has to be that type, or at least partially that type. But yeah, it was a 36-person tourney, and there was a lot of great games throughout, but I can't really post all of them. This was just the best one, the finals match against XX Ninja XX, and he's using a flying type team. So let's get this underway. Alright, so he leads off with Aerodactyl, the 4th gen greatest lead in the game, as I just go for Bed Intruder, and I'm just going to Will-O-Wisp Aerodactyl as he Stone Edges. Basically just a Will-O-Wisp, get rid of the Focus Sash, you know, basically cripple it for the game. And I'm just going to Confuse Ray, try and get some hacks on him, but there's no luck in that as he just Stone Edges me. But, you know, I figure that he's in a pretty good position to be hacked, so I'm going to bring out Sagan and Swaggin to try and get a couple bulk ups off. And he goes for the Stone Edge, but thankfully misses and loses the Confusion, which isn't all that great, but a burned Aerodactyl wasn't going to do a whole lot to me. So he just Earthquakes, and I would have thought he would switch out, as he's in an awful position. I mean, the Aerodactyl's already useless, but then he uses Fire Blast, which does surprise me a little bit, and I'm just going to keep bulking up. And he continues to use Fire Blast. I guess he's hoping for the burn, but there's not really a whole lot of sense in doing it, as I do have Shed Skin. Many bulk up and D-Dance users of Scrafty use Moxie, but I use Shed Skin with Rest, as you will see in a second, because that helps me in the long run a lot of times, as he will be able to sweep, because Sagan and Swaggin is a boss. But yeah, he tells me thank God on the chat as soon as he got that burn, but then I just rest it off, of course. And my Shed Skin activates first turn, which does happen quite a lot. It's a 30% chance. Obviously, it is a little bit lucky, but he also did get the burn. But he's going to go for the Fire Blast and, of course, crit me, as I just kill him off with Drain Punch. Which, I didn't think the crit would matter that much, but in comes Zapdos, who does Thunder Wave, which I also didn't think would be that big a deal because of my Shed Skin. But I'm just going to Drain Punch, try and get some health back, just to make sure I don't get hacks and somehow die. But, you know, he's going to Thunderbolt, do some decent damage, and I do, in fact, get the Parahacks, which does suck as well. But then my Shed Skin activates and gets rid of that Paralyze, so I'm still in pretty good shape here. But then he uses Thunderbolt, wears me down a little bit more, and I'm just going to Crunch for the kill. Oh, no, actually, no, he lives with like 1%. I was pretty surprised about that. That must be bulky Zapdos. As he Thunderbolts me and I rest, getting almost all my health back. And at this point, Scrafty started to piss him off a little bit. And he's just going to Roost, and I'm still going to be fast asleep, as Shed Skin hasn't worked first turn yet, like the other time. But he's Thunderbolt, trying to wear me down, you know, the norm. And he is now going to Heat Wave, which does have a chance of burn, but I'm asleep, so it's not really going to have that chance. As I just go for another Crunch here, get him down to red. And the Stall War is basically back to where it started before I used Rest. And then he Thunderbolts but crits. And it kind of sucked, but Sagan and Swaggin was out there for a little while. I mean, he did get a couple crits on him. That would have been the end of Zapdos and possibly his whole team. But anyway, I'll just send out Slice and Dice to revenge kill Zapdos. And Gyarados gets the Intimidate off, which I'm not liking too much, so I'm just going to switch out into Bed Intruder, thinking Gyarados can't do a whole lot to me, as even if he does Dragon Dance like he does there, I have Prankster, so I should still be able to get a Will-O-Wisp off before he attacks, and I do. And luckily it hits, because Will-O-Wisp seems to be a move that doesn't hit for me as often as I'd liked. But he's going to Waterfall, but he's burned, so it's crippling the Gyarados pretty badly in a way. So I'm just going to recover off that damage, and he's going to keep going for the waterfall. I mean, I guess hoping for a crit, but this is a battle he's going to lose. Unless he gets some sort of hacks, but I'm confused ring now, and he hurts himself in confusion, and this is a point when he's never going to win this, unless you just get unbelievably lucky, because he's going to have to hit through confusion and probably crit. Well, he's going to have to crit. You know, that'll lower all my recovers down, but then he finally realizes he's screwed and just switches out into Landorus, as I'm just Nightshade to get some damage. But I'm going to Will-O-Wisp this thing, and of course that does miss, which indeed sucks, but luckily I do take it. So as long as this hits, it will be crippled in a way, although it will be able to finish off Bed Intruder. But Bed Intruder did some pretty good work on his team, as Dragonite's the only physical attacker left that's not burned. But I'm going to send in Slice and Dice to revenge kill, but of course he's Choice Scarfed, which I didn't expect. And I wasn't really sure if Ice Shard would kill, although it was a misplay looking at it now, because Ice Shard's 4 times effective and definitely kills. I just thought he might switch, so I used Ice Punch, but that didn't happen. He sends in his Dragonite. I just try and hit him with a Brave Bird. And I Sucker Punch, but he predicts that well and uses Dragon Dance. And this was the game, or a big part of the game, as I just keep going for the Sucker Punch. But he does not predict this and goes for an attacking move, which allows it to get it off, leaving him at very low health. And with only 1 Dragon Dance up, which if he had gotten 1 more Dragon Dance, he would not have outsped Nigslave, because Nigslave is Choice Scarfed. But because of that Scarf, I'm able to outspeed and kill off with Dragon Pulse. And while he has 4 left, and I only have 2, now 3 left, I am still in pretty good spot because 2 of them are burned as attackers. And I have a Choice Scarfed Hydreigon, which is just a monster. But he's going to send in his Sigilyph, and Nigslave's going to rape that thing with a Dark Pulse. He's going to Stored Power. I have no idea why. I guess realizing he'd already lost. But yeah, I'm just going to Dark Pulse one more time here. And finish him off as he goes into his Gyarados. As he does get another Intimidate off, but not mattering because obviously I am a special attacker. So I Dark Pulse, and he actually takes that, which I was kind of surprised about. And then he bounces, which I think bounce is kind of a terrible move. He does realize he lost already, because I do have Zoroark left anyway, but he's just going to bounce. And it doesn't really matter if he crits Parahacks or whatever, because the burn will end up killing him. So yeah, that is the game. It was a really fun tourney. I had an awesome time playing in it, as my Dark team is just an unbelievably good combination together. And if you ever want to challenge me or challenge this Dark team, just ask me on Pokemon Showdown, and I'll happily accept. But yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.